Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we will be looking at AQA Level Psychology Specimen 2 Paper 2 Exemplar Answers for Research Methods, which you need to know for AQA Level Psychology. I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. Let's get started. Please note that these answers have been produced with knowledge of the mark scheme but have not been approved by the mark scheme themselves. There are 3 assessment objectives, AOs, in psychology. In this video they are color-coded. AO1 Knowledge, purple. AO2 Application, blue. AO3 Evaluation, red and green. Read the item and then answer the questions that follow. Researchers were interested in the spatial awareness skills of motorists. They decided to investigate a possible relationship between different aspects of spatial awareness. Motorists who had between 10 and 12 years of driving experience and held a clean driving license with no penalty points were asked to complete 2 sets of tasks. Set 1, to follow a series of instructions and using a map, to identify various locations correctly. This provided a map reading score for each motorist with a maximum score of 20. Set 2, to complete a series of practical driving tasks accurately. This involved tasks such as driving between cones, driving within lines and parking inside designated spaces. Each motorist was observed completing the Set 2 tasks by a single trained observer who rated each performance by giving the driver a rating out of 10. The following results were obtained. Table 1, the map reading scores and driver ratings of motorists. Question 1. Should the hypothesis be directional? Explain your answer. 2 mark. It should be a non-directional hypothesis as there is no reference to evidence that allows the researchers to prediction the direction of the results. Question 2. Write a suitable hypothesis for this investigation. 3 marks. There will be a significant relationship between the map reading scores and the driving error ratings of motorists. Question 3. Identify a suitable graphical display for the data in Table 1 and briefly explain why this display would be appropriate. 2 marks. A scattergraph because it shows a relationship between 2 variables. Question 4. Using the data in Table 1, comment on the relationship between the map reading scores and the driver rating scores of the participants. 3 marks. The general pattern between the map reading scores and the driver rating scores of the participants is that if a participant scored highly on the map reading task, then they are also rated highly on the practical driving task. This suggests a person who has good map reading ability also has good driving skills, so these spatial abilities are positively correlated. Question 5. Briefly outline one problem of using a single trained observer to rate the participant's driving skills in the practical task. Briefly discuss how this data collection method could be modified to improve the reliability of the data collected. 6 marks. Researcher bias occurs when a researcher's expectations, beliefs, or preferences consciously or unconsciously influence the outcome of a study through the way data is collected, analyzed, observed, or interpreted. This data collection method could be modified to improve the reliability of the data collected by increasing the number of observers of the driving task, because then the data is less subject to individual bias and the observations could then be correlated. The driver performances could also be recorded so that the data is not lost but can be reviewed as often as required. Question 6. The researchers decided to analyze the data using a Spearman's row test. Explain why this is a suitable choice of test for this investigation. 3 marks. Spearman's row test is a suitable choice of test for this investigation because the test determines the strength of a relationship between 2 variables, which is what the researchers were looking for in their initial aim. The experimental design is matched pairs and the variables under test are both ratings measured at the ordinal level. Table 2. Table of critical values for a Spearman's row test. Calculated RS must equal or exceed the critical value for significance at the level shown. Question 7. After analysis of the data, the researchers obtained a calculated value of RS equals 0.808. Using the information in Table 2 above, what conclusion can the researchers draw about the relationship between the map reading and driving skills of the motorists? Explain your answer. 4 marks. The null hypothesis should be rejected and the alternative hypothesis accepted. There is a significant, positive, relationship between the map reading ability and the driving ability of the participants. Drivers who are skilled at map reading are also skilled at driving. This relationship is a strong positive one, as the calculated value of RS of 0.808 exceeds the critical value for a two-tailed test at p equals 0.05 where n equals 9 of 0.700. Question 8. Distinguish between a type 1 error and a type 2 error. 4 marks. A type 1 error occurs when a researcher claims support for the research hypothesis with a significant result when the results were caused by random variables. A type 2 error occurs when the effect the researcher was attempting to demonstrate does exist, but the researcher claims there was no significance in the results and erroneously accepts the null hypothesis. The difference is that in a type 1 error the null hypothesis is rejected when it is true, and in a type 2 error it is retained when it is false. When the researchers looked at the data collected more closely, they noticed possible gender differences in the results. Results table of means and standard deviations for the map reading scores of male and female motorists. Question 9. What do the mean and standard deviation values suggest about the male and female performances in the investigation? 4 marks. The mean score for males is almost 3 times larger than that of the females, which suggests they are very much better at map reading than the females. The standard deviations are quite similar to each other, suggesting the spread of performances of the male participants and the female participants is similar within each group. In a replication of the part of the study in which map reading skills were investigated, 20 men and 20 women completed the original map reading task and the researchers obtained the following data. Question 10. The mean map reading score for both groups together was 12.23. What percentage of the male group scored above the mean score and what percentage of the female group scored above the mean score? Show your calculations. 4 marks. Males is 13 divided by 20 equals 65%. Females is 5 divided by 20 equals 25%. Question 11. Using your answers to both question 9 and question 10, comment on the performances of the male and the female participants in this study. 2 marks. The difference in the percentages confirms the earlier suggestion that men are much better at map reading than women. Question 12. Briefly explain one reason why it is important for research to be replicated. 2 marks. One reason why it is important for research to be replicated is because the likelihood of the same differences occurring twice, or more, by chance alone are much smaller than when they occur the first time. The effects that occur in a study are more likely to be reliable if they occur in a repeat of the study. Replication therefore increases external reliability. Imagine you have been asked to design a study to investigate possible gender differences in card sorting behaviors. You decide you will ask participants to sort a shuffled pack of playing cards into their suits of hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades. You decide you will time the participants as they do this using a stopwatch. Question 13. Discuss the following aspects of this investigation. 9 marks. With reference to the card sorting task, explain how you would ensure that this is made the same task for all participants. One methodological issue you should take into account when obtaining suitable participants for this study, and explain how you would deal with this issue. How you would ensure that the experience of your participants is ethical. To ensure that this task is made the same for all the participants, start with a good shuffle of a standard deck of cards. This is your baseline. Lay the cards out in the order they are after the shuffle, and note down the exact sequence, e.g., using a coding system for each card. After each participant sorts the cards, you need to put the deck back to that exact shuffled order you recorded. Do this for every single person taking part in your study. One methodological issue you should take into account when obtaining suitable participants for this study is the participants' familiarity with card games. If some participants play cards often and others have barely touched a deck, that prior experience could mess with the results. People who know card games might pick up on strategies faster or just feel more comfortable, which could make them perform better, even if what you're really testing is something else entirely. This issue could be dealt with by screening. Participants could be asked about their card game experience beforehand through a questionnaire to rate their familiarity. There would need to be a balance and equal mix of card experts and newbies in each group compared. The participants could be trained on how to play cards, so everyone starts on a level playing field. Participants should be provided with all the details of the study so they can make an informed decision as to whether they wish to participate. Information that should be provided includes the risks and expected benefits, potential therapeutic misconceptions about experimental treatments, allowing participants to ask questions, and describing methods to minimize risks like emotional distress. Participants should be asked for their written consent on more than one occasion. After conducting a study, which could cause psychological or physical harm, participants should be provided with the opportunity to receive counseling to reduce the negative impact of the study. Participants should also be reassured that their behavior and results from the study was normal and they should not worry. Participants and the data gained from them must be kept anonymous. Participants' names should not be used in the lab report, instead pseudonyms, initials or numbers should be used to maintain anonymity when referring to the participants. Information that can lead to identification should be minimized, e.g. researchers should consider whether birth dates are necessary or just ages. Individual responses should not be identifiable and should not be accessible to anyone other than the researchers and their agents. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Bye.